Welcome back, everybody. I'm Julia's son, and joining us on this lovely afternoon is my new friend, best-selling author, Carly Phillips, and she has a new book out, Take the Bride. Congratulations.
Thank
this
you.
is your how many book?
I've lost count. No, it's over 50.
So I want to ask you this to start.
Sure.
Come on, it's not easy to write a book.
No, well.
How did you come up with so many ideas? I can't even come up with one.
The ideas come naturally to me on some level. There's always something that I can pick up from a magazine or from a TV show or just some little nugget of any little idea that then sort of you start saying to yourself, well, what would happen if it had a happy ending? What would happen if her sister really was alive? And you just, I don't know, my brain has always worked that way.
Okay, and then you have a thing, obviously, for romance novels.
I do. I have a thing for the happily ever after.
Yes. Why?
Because it's the happily ever after. Because life is hard, and life isn't easy, and you can escape. And for me, romance was an escape, and that's how I started writing it, and that's how I started reading it. And I love it.
Okay. Yeah. And out of all these 50 books, I mean, you've been writing for a long time, right? And before you became a writer, an author, you were something else. Tell us about that.
I was a lawyer. Not for very long. That's okay. But no, I was, I don't even remember the word now, certified in 2 states. But I worked in Manhattan, and it was a huge office and a lot of pressure, and definitely not for me. So
because when people think about lawyers, I mean, I don't want to stereotype anybody, but people think about serious, stern, you know, not that romantic.
No, and well, at that point in my life, I mean, the romance books weren't. I wasn't reading pure romance. I was reading anything. So, but it was serious, and it was stern, and it was hard, and it was. I hate to say it and stereotype lawyers. It was mean, and it just didn't work for me.
Okay, but did that experience, your experience as a lawyer, an attorney in a upscale Manhattan skyscraper, did that affect your writing in a certain way, or did it pull you away from
I wasn't writing back then. I didn't start writing until I'd been out for about a year, and we were married. I got married. I had a daughter. She was colicky, and I was reading, and I was reading, and I was reading, and I backtracked. I said, well, I love these authors. And so I looked at what they used to write, and they used to write romance, and that's how I fell into the Harlequin books. And that's how I said, oh, I can always find a book with a happily ever after, and that's how I sort of found my niche.
Okay.
Yeah.
But did you ever think you would become a best-selling author?
No, that was, I mean, I wanted to. I mean,
sure,
everybody, you know, once you start, it's sort of like, I realized that it was a part of me. I remember saying to my husband, you know, this computer's really old, this printer's really old. I really need new stuff, and I don't know how to explain it. It's not going away. It's not a fad. It's not a whim. Like, this is really part of who I am now.
And how long did it take you to realize this is not going away?
Immediately.
Immediately?
Immediately. Once I started reading it, once I started backtracking it, and once I started researching about writing, I knew this was something I really wanted to do.
Okay, and then let's talk about your book. What is tell
Take the Bride is a novella that's part of my Night Brothers series. It's with 1001 Dark Nights, which is a fabulous publisher that's really good for authors to help. They do great publicity, and they help us expand our brand, and they're just wonderful. So it's a novella, and then I have 3 other books in the series, and one is recently out also called Take Me Down.
Okay, Take the Bride, and then Take Me Down.
Well, it started with Take Me Again, and then there's Take the Bride, and then Take Me Down, and then Dare Me Tonight.
Okay.
Which will...
Do you have any, I mean, you already have 50-plus books already.
I do.
On the shelves. How many, I don't want you to limit yourself, but how many more books do you think you'll bring us for the rest of your writing life? Which hopefully will be long.
I don't see an end to writing. I mean, I feel like it fills a part of me, so I think I'm always going to write. And if I'm lucky enough that people buy the books, then I'm always going, there'll be more books.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then, because a lot of our viewers, I get this question all the time, which is, I want to be a writer too.
Okay.
They're all readers, right? They all love to read, and
that's how a lot of us start. Yeah.
And some of them aspire to be writers. What would you say to them, for those of you guys, y'all watching, who want to be like this lady and many of the people on our shows?
Well, figure out what genre you want to write in, and then read. And read and read a lot, and understand the genre, and understand what the reader expectation is. Like in romance, it's the happily ever after, and there's basically an assumption of no cheating once there are books like that, don't get me wrong, but like in my books, I know there's like an inherent promise. My readers know they're going to get the fantasy, and that's important to me. So I think you need to know as much as you can about what genre you want to write in, and then you need to not give up, because it is not easy.
Because that's kind of hard to decide. It's like, okay, if I haven't written any books, and then how am I going to decide, do I want to write a happily ever after story, or
See,
I want
it wasn't
to write
hard.
a really sad story?
It wasn't hard for me.
So you're blessed.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
I think so.
Thank you.
So.
Thank you.
Yeah.
No, I always, once I started, I knew. Once I started, I knew.
And for those of, our viewers who don't really know, but they just want to write, what do you say to them?
Write what's in your heart.
Okay. So it could be fiction, it could be nonfiction.
It could be fiction, it could be
romance,
nonfiction.
It could be sci-fi, it could be anything.
It could be mystery, it could be mystery, it could be anything. I think it just has to speak to you.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And then I want to go back to you yourself.
Sure.
Tell us a little bit about your upbringing, and then you went to Brandeis University, and then later you went to law school. Obviously,
right.
Tell us about your journey, because some of our viewers are in college, in grad school. They're trying to transition into the real world, and while being avid readers.
You say to people that you don't know where you're going to end up in life, and I think that's really, really true, especially for me. I went to college knowing I wanted to be a lawyer, and not knowing that it wasn't going to work for me. And it didn't work for me, and who could picture that where I'd be now,
yeah.
Writing romance. So your journey could take you anywhere.
You said you knew you want to be a lawyer?
I did in college.
Okay.
I knew in college. I didn't grow up going, oh my God, I want to be a lawyer. No.
What did your parents do?
My dad owned a supermarket, and he had never gone to college, so he was very big on education, and he wanted us to have a background in something we could fall back on.
Sure.
So it never would have been graduating high school and going, I'm going to be a writer. That wouldn't have worked for them. But having, as long as I had something to fall back on, it made him feel better and more confident that his kids would be okay.
Okay. And then your mother?
And my mom was, she was a teacher for a couple of years, and then stay-at-home mom.
Okay.
Yeah.
But after you sort of quit your,
that
law
was
career,
difficult.
yeah, I'm sure that was
for the husband too.
Yeah,
For my husband too.
Yeah. How did they react to it, and how did you get over that?
I think because there was a real physical aspect of problems with it. I had migraines. I was getting physically ill from doing this job. It was not good for me, emotionally or physically. So I was like, I think they understood that this was not the right career for me.
Okay.
I was lucky. I've always had a very supportive family.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because, at first, let's just put it out there, and our viewers know, a lot of writers don't make money. A lot of authors,
there's no guarantees.
There's no guarantee.
There's no guarantees that
right.
if you have a best-selling hit book that you're going to make money the following year. This is not a career with guarantees.
Sure.
And a salary,
right.
Guaranteed salary.
Right. And then after you started writing and you wrote, you just kept going, and then at some point you have accumulated enough accolades. You got a lot of awards. At what point would you say your dad, your husband, your family, people around you sort of came around?
They really were around from the beginning. I can't say that they weren't. It's harder in the beginning when you're spending more than you're making. And, I want to go to a conference and I want to do this. And there's no guarantees you're going to earn back what you're putting out. And that's really hard. But like I said, I've been very lucky that I've always had the support of people around me. Okay.
Can you tell us about some of your awards? Like, what's your proudest one?
Well, hitting the New York Times bestseller list, there were two. One was after I was very lucky that my first big book, post-Harlequin days. The Bachelor was a Kelly Ripa bestseller, her book club. It was the first romance on a nationally televised book club. And that book hit the New York Times, and it was thrilling and exciting. And there were so many different things for me because I was a Kelly Ripa fan before, so all of it was amazing. But when I hit the New York Times with an indie book, after I'd gone indie and self-publishing and all of that, and I did it myself, there was some kind of satisfaction in that was wholly different.
Yeah, I mean, tell us really quickly, what does it take to be on the New York Times bestsellers list?
I'm not sure I understand.
Yeah, like, you know, how many books do you have to sell to be on there?
I think
what
it's different.
determines?
You know, I can't even answer that. The list has changed so much. There used to be an ebook list. There's no longer an ebook list. It's a combined print. And so, you know, I don't know. The numbers have really changed dramatically over the years.
And I'm getting your questions. I'm going to start with the first one. We have a question from Amy. How has your writing evolved since you first started out? Or has it evolved at all?
You know, I think that's really interesting because when I started out, I was writing short contemporary romance for Harlequin. And then when I started writing the bigger books for, you know, like The Bachelor and those books, they were more like 90,000 word books, and they were very long and more complex. And when I did go, again, self-publishing, indie publishing, I went back to my roots, to the shorter, tighter books, and I love them so much more because I feel like, personally, I like books that move faster. And I think you can do that. I can do that in a shorter format.
Define short, like how many words?
50, 60,000 word book.
It's still not like
well, it's not
like
90.
super. Yeah, it's not 90.
No, it's not super short, but it's not 90.
Okay, got it. And then we have a question from Donna Smith. Hi, Donna. So, what did you get your degree in? Well,
I was a political science. Well, it was called politics at Brandeis. It was a political science major. And a lot of European studies at that point. I don't know what I was thinking or what I was going to do with it, but I knew I was going to law school, so I wasn't sure that exactly what I majored in, I could enjoy it more than, you know. And then the law school part took over, and then I did that.
That's like a natural transition to law school. Like a lot of people from your major probably
absolutely
went on
yeah, a lot of us
go to
did.
law school.
A lot of us did.
Comment from Marquita Valentine. You look amazing.
Thank you.
Exclamation mark, 5 of them. Heart. you
can't tell we're friends.
I know. You know I've loved your books from the start. Hot Zone Forever.
Hot Zone Forever. My sports series.
Yeah.
Hot Zone.
Question from Sean. Hi, Sean.
Hi, Sean.
Do you write multiple novels at once, or do you only focus on one at a time?
One at a time. I have a very, I call it linear mind. I get really annoyed when a new story starts to intrude when I'm in the middle of another story. So like I'll take a few notes, but I really won't let my mind go there because I can't do multiple things like that. I mean, I'm really good at multitasking, but not in the writing genre.
Okay, because I've talked to authors who said, "Oh, my ideas just come from all over the place, so I can like work on this, work on that."
Yeah,
and
no,
you can't.
I can't do that. No.
Okay.
No.
And then question from John: do you have any fun facts about you that your fans don't know?
You know, I'm a pretty open book online, as anybody that follows me knows. If you follow me on Facebook, so I have 3 dogs. I have 2 daughters. I have a husband. We met in college. I mean, there's really not much that people don't know about me.
How about something fun about your dogs?
Oh, they're so bad. They are so bad.
Explain, please.
Okay, well, because I have 3, and I had a groomer who was a friend of mine that recently passed away that I loved, and he said to me, 2 dogs is amazing, and 3 is like having 5. And then I saw a picture of Tony, and I said, oh no, it can't be that bad. And we brought him in, and like, oh, it's that bad. It becomes a pack against you, as opposed to they do what they want. I've lost all control.
How old are they?
Bailey's 12. Brady's 8, and Tony's 5. Yeah, they're cute.
Okay, question from Jake. Hi, Jake. Are there any writers that particularly inspired you? Like you're particularly inspired by?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I admire anybody that puts a pen to a paper, or fingers.
Yeah,
to a
fingers
keyboard.
on keyboard.
I really, but I'm a romance reader at heart, and I just admire all my. I mean, I'm not. If I name people, it's gonna be it's hard because A, they're friends, B, they're colleagues, and I just admire all of them.
Okay. And question from Tyler: what is something that you hope to accomplish that you haven't already?
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Every book I put out, I'm still looking to have it do better than the one before, to grow with how I write and have each book be better than the one before, and to please readers. And that's like my bottom line goal, is to keep them coming back.
Now, how do you measure do better? Is it by, number of books you sold, or is it by feedback? Is it by...
It's all of the above. I mean, because sometimes the market's down and you can't go by what you sold.
Sure.
I mean, for me, it's I'll check, I'm not a big review reader because I don't really believe in beating yourself up if it's rough. But I do like to take an overall look at my reviews, because if something comes up that's a consistent theme, good or bad, either you did something right, or maybe the reader has a point. One person that says, "Oh my God, I hate your book," that's different. But everybody, but I've been fortunate. I haven't had a lot of that. Okay. But I'm careful.
I mean, everybody has some of them.
Everybody has
some. You can't please everybody.
No, you can't. But yeah. I try and you want to learn from your mistakes. So if there's a theme running, I definitely would look twice.
Okay. From Sasha. Hi, Sasha. If given the opportunity, would you be all right with your books being converted into other forms of media, like movies or TV shows?
Well, yeah, if somebody came knocking, yeah, of course.
Right. Like, what's your preferred genre, media type?
I honestly hadn't thought about it.
Okay.
Either one sounds really cool.
Okay. I mean, nowadays the line is rather blurred.
The line is sort of blurred because, I mean, I do have a book that I co-wrote with Erica Wilde that Passionflix is going to be making into a movie called Dirty Sexy Saint. And it's going to be streamed like a stream
on like a Netflix.
Yeah, type? Netflix type on Passionflix, but like some of them that they've done are now available on Amazon Prime and things like that. So I am lucky enough to have that happen, which is really exciting.
Okay. Question from Derek. Hi, Derek. What is a trait that a romance writer must have in order to be successful?
Ooh. I think you have to have at least an innate belief in some kind of happily ever after. I mean, that is the definition of romance. At its core is that two people who meet end up together, and you assume that they're going to spend the rest of their lives together. I mean, if you don't believe in it and you can write it well, and that's wow. But I think you would have to. You mean the romance novels in your world? For me, for example, a romance novel can end with them being dead. Honestly, that's not a romance. That is not a traditional classic definition of romance. Romance is a genre. Any reader that picks up a romance is given that implicit promise of either happy for now or happily ever after. I see. So Romeo and Juliet would not be a romance. Romeo and Juliet is not a romance. Call that a tragedy. I mean, it is a tragedy. It's a Greek tragedy. It's a tragedy. From Michelle Underwood. Hi, Michelle. Hi, Michelle. What do you do when you get stuck on ideas while writing? Also, love you and your books. Thank you. I call my critique partner, Erica Wilde, who is always there for me. Hi, I know you'll see this at some point. Hi, Eric. Erica. Yeah. But we will talk each other through either being in a corner or being stuck on a plot or concept or anything. We'll walk each other through. How did you know each other? And how did you know that she would be the one to... Well, we've been working together that way for 20 years. I've met her way back in the day. RWA, still Romance Writers of America, still runs contests. And back then, I submitted, she read my work, she put a sticker on it with her name and her book name and title and her email. And she said, "Don't give up, you're really good." And I reached out to her and said, "Thank you so much, and you write for who I want to write for." We started talking, and we just clicked. Okay. Question from Samantha Chase. Hi, Samantha. Hi. Favorite snack
While you're
Love
writing,
you,
I
girl.
like that. I want to ask you that too. Are you like a snacker?
I'm a huge snacker,
Okay.
and you would ask me that. Chocolate, anything
Chocolate.
chocolate. Yes, no, anything chocolate.
Brownies.
Well, I don't keep it in the house.
Yeah.
I mean, but I would. Brownies are my favorite. Yeah, chocolate.
And then question from John Lon. Do you have a favorite series that you have written?
I really tend to love each series as it comes, as it's happening. You know what I mean? I get really excited about it when I'm releasing and whatever. But I would say my Billionaire Bad Boys hold a special place in my heart. There's some emotional drama in there and some things in there that are relevant to you know, people with some issues and whatnot. And it's important to me.
I mean, I've had a lot of authors telling me, okay, I love this series, I don't know, 3 years ago, 5 years ago, and now I hate it. Because your work, you know, your style changes over time, over the years, but you still love some of your early.
Yeah, that one's not that early. I mean, that's about 3 years ago. The earlier work is really hard to judge. I could tell you, I loved doing the Hot Zone, and it had a special place for me because I really wanted to write sports romance, and traditional publishers used to say, oh, no, sports doesn't sell, and we all know sports sells.
Yeah,
but
who said that?
Well, but at the point after the Kelly Ripa thing,
yeah,
I had enough, a little bit of clout maybe, that I could say, I really want to write a sports romance, like, do it and I was like, thank you. So, and the readers, like, as you see, somebody just mentioned it, that they loved it. So.
Yeah. And then a comment from Horvath Aliana, I think I'm saying that right. Love your books.
Thank you.
Nice to see you.
Nice to see you too.
Question from Jane. Hi, Jane. What's your favorite romance that you didn't write yourself?
Oh, my. Well,
might be hard to name one.
It's
so
hard
give us a few.
Okay. Well, it's hard to name one just because I'm such a prolific reader. Like I read and I put it and I put it away and I loved it. But way back, Laverne Spencer got me. She wrote Separate Beds, and that was sort of like to me like the ultimate book that said to me, let's see what else she wrote. And then I realized that she wrote Harlequins, and it sort of got me into what I do. So I always fall back on that for this question because it really got me where I am.
When you said you're a prolific reader as well as a writer, obviously, how fast do you read?
A book. I could read a book a day. But the romance-sized books a day, you know.
I wish I could do that.
But actually any book, because I grew up reading whatever my mom had in the house and hardcover paperback. Excuse me.
I mean, do you think that's part of your lawyer training, or that's just your interest?
That predated my lawyer training.
Okay.
The reading. I mean, we would go on vacation and have to bring a suitcase because before Kindles with the books. So yeah.
I mean, I know a lot of readers. They love to read. I mean, myself included. We love to read, but we're not fast.
I'm pretty fast.
Okay.
Yeah.
So for those of us, how do we develop that? How do we get faster?
I don't think you need to. I just think you need to enjoy the book.
Oh my God, I want to get to more things. I have like 50 books on my list that I'm.
I don't know how. I can't tell you, but just enjoy the book.
Okay. Question from Georgina. Do you read while you write, or do you wait to read other books until after you finish a book?
I used to wait. I admit, because I used to get. There was a time when I would get very intimidated by other authors, and now I try and say to myself, well, if it's that good, you can learn from it, and you can. And really, there's an expression about refilling the well. And if you keep yourself fresh by reading other people, it helps you write. So, and I've come to believe that that's true. Okay.
I have a comment from Terry Jolman Edison. I am reading it now on chapter 6. Love it so far. I assume that's this book. Yeah. Cool. And then a question from Chastity Jenkins Patrick. Hi there.
I'm in trouble.
Do you have any surprises coming up for your readers? And how much do you love me? Okay.
After that, no, I love you. You know I love you. I have a book called Dare Me Tonight, which is part of this series coming out, and what makes readers really excited, I think, is that I took my Dare series, my Dare to Love series, which readers seem to adore, and I had unused characters because I had sort of like the well ran dry for a while. And now I feel fresh about it again, and I did a crossover with the Knights, these Knight brothers, and one of the Dare sisters. And readers are going to love Ethan Knight.
What did you do when your quote-unquote well was dry? I hear that from artists too, not just authors. They're like, I'm out of idea. It's not like I'm not creative, but I don't know what to do.
I think in that case it was because there were 6 siblings on one part of the family, and the father had an affair, and there were 3 siblings on another part, and then there were 3 cousins. And so I had really tapped out that history in my brain, and I needed to take a break, and so I wrote The Billionaires next, which I said, so I just went into something wholly different, and that frees up your brain.
Yeah. Okay. Question from Jake. Hi, Jake. What projects, if any, are you thinking about for the future?
Well, see, I don't have Chastity here to tell me if I'm allowed to talk about this. Let's see. I have another series planned, and it will be another, just giving hints, it will be another crossover, and it will make people very, very happy. So stay tuned.
Okay. Donna Smith wants to know, what do you read besides romance?
I don't anymore.
You don't anymore? I don't.
Okay,
what did you used to read? What did you used to read before? Besides romance?
Women's fiction. Way back when I was younger, I know my mom had a lot of 18 books where people came over in the 1800s, and it was drama and romance and fiction, but it was all generalized. It wasn't just romance per se. I read Robin Cook. I read everything. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And
then how many years ago was it when you decided, hey, romance only, that's my thing?
Jeez.
Sounded like
30.
Okay. Seriously? Okay. Okay. And then since then you've been
I've been
reading.
faithful.
Yeah.
I've been faithful.
Okay.
Yep.
That's a good way to put it.
Yep.
Question from Becky. Do you listen to any music when you write? Does music help inspire you?
Okay. Music helped inspire Take the Bride, and that's the only book music has ever helped inspire. It was inspired by Elton John's Kiss the Bride song. Oh. I heard the song, I loved the song, but the guy never stood up and said, I object. He just let her marry the other guy, and if you're a romance reader, you're like, no, that's not cool. Yeah. So I really wanted to do a rewrite of that, so that's what Take the Bride is. On a general writing day, I have the TV on. I have been my whole life an avid soap opera watcher. So they've been on in the background, and as some of those have disappeared, I've just kept the TV on, and weekends are Law and Order. And
of course, same here. I mean, I don't have TV, but you're glued on NBC.
Yeah.
Okay, a question from Anton. What gets you into the mood to write? Do you do anything special, or just put the pen to the paper?
Pen to the paper. When it's a business and it's a job, as much as you love it, it's like you can't say I don't want to go to work today. You have deadlines, and you have to meet them, and you want your book out in however much period of time, and you've hired editors, and you write.
Because to me, writing, I mean, I don't have to tell you this, it's a creative process.
It is.
And sometimes when you are pressed against deadlines after deadlines, don't you feel like, I can't be super creative because I have this person breathing down my neck?
Well, that can happen. I'm not going to say it can't happen, and it happens to all of us. And I think that's why I like to cushion myself, and say, I'm going to take 2 weeks off between books, and then I don't. But at least I know when I've planned my schedule that I've done that for myself, so that I have the time. Or if I have a couple of days where the story is not flowing, that's okay, because I can take a break and I can come back to it in a couple of days, maybe read a few books, or just shut my brain down for a day or two.
Okay. We have a question from Natalie DeLilo. We talked about this before, but just in case our viewers missed the first part, how many books have you written?
Well, I've written over 50. I actually do not have the count. Because I'm not a numbers girl, so I do forget.
But it's well over 50.
Yeah. It's well over 50.
From Shelley, Do you have any say in your book's cover art, or is it a surprise every time?
Well, when I wrote for New York publishers, I had cover approval of sorts, but that never meant, oh my God, if I hate this, we're going to reshoot the whole cover. So I went through a period where I was very frustrated, and when I did the indie publishing and now I work myself, I completely have all the say I want over my covers, and I pick my own cover model. You know, I buy the photos, and I hire artists, and if I don't like them, I can hire somebody else, or they'll rework them for me. So now I have complete say, and
So
I
you
love
were
it.
saying before they just did the cover, and then you were like, oh, I hate this.
I remember there was once, and I was like, okay, and you know you have limitations in how much you can really argue, and no matter what your contract really says. They gave me a guy, they kept replacing heads on the guy to give me a better looking guy, and I'm like, no, but you know, they do the best they can. I mean, I don't want to New York bash, because they were good to me for all the years that I wrote for them.
But nowadays,
I'm so happy to be able to take care of my own covers, my own pricing, just all my stuff.
I mean, isn't it easier to just take care of yourself anyway, because you know what your book is about?
It's a full-time job, though.
Okay.
Like, this is a full-time job in addition to writing, because I have to handle everything that you turn over to a publisher. You know, I have to get the book formatted, I have to get the book uploaded at all the different retailers. You have to get the cover made, I have the audio done. It's something that you take on yourself, but you know you're going to be a small business in and of yourself.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And then before I let you go, tell us, where can people find you online?
Okay.
I mean, Instagram, all that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So my website is carlyphillips.com, 2 L's in Phillips. So you can link to me from there for everywhere. Instagram is @carlyphillips. Facebook is Carly Phillips fan page, and then from the other pages you can reach my groups, because I don't have specific addresses on those. It's hard.
Okay, and where can people buy your books?
You can buy my books everywhere. Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Kobo, Google Play. Take the Bride is exclusive to Amazon for another, I would say, 2.5 months, and then it will be everywhere.
Okay. Cool. All right. Anything else?
And they're in print.
Yeah. Anything else you want to tell us?
No, just I was going to say the books are in print as well.
Okay. Okay. So, like, I mean, I always love the print just because it feels better.
And you can order them. Amazon, Barnes & Noble, or go into a bookstore and give the ISBN.
Yeah. Not that this Kindle. I also have a Kindle. Cool. All right. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here, Carly.
Yeah.